Oh, hey there, Bruiser Nation. Raise those anchors and get ready to take a ride on the Bruze Cruze. This week on the Bruze Cruze podcast, the only podcast that brings you pro wrestling for your ears, we continue our G1 Climax 30 coverage featuring Juice Robinson facing off with Tetsuya Naito, both men deep in this tournament at this point in time. Juice Robinson, a few victories, a few losses. I believe he might be 2-2. I never do check the stats before I watch these, but it's fine. But let's hope that Juice Robinson hits Tetsuya Naito with his version of the Bruze Cruze, and you'll see me mark like a 6-year-old more than likely. As Juice Robinson enters the ring, the flamboyant Juice Robinson, as the lower thirds tells me, pandering to the crowd with his sleeveless shirt buttoned down with a tie, because why the hell not? I mean, pro wrestling, right? And as we await the arrival of Tetsuya Naito, if you are watching this on the Bruiser Nation Productions YouTube page and want to watch along and listen to me call the matches, then we have our time at 2:24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and we're at 2:32 now at this point. So watch along with us. See if I can make you laugh a little bit in these, because, pro wrestling's supposed to be fun anyway. And now we have the dual champion Tetsuya Naito walking out to the ring. And I have just been informed via the commentators that this Tetsuya Naito, this ridiculously good pro wrestler, has been in this tournament, match time wise, of 2 hours and 9 minutes. That's a lot of work, because this is all like consecutive stuff. Like they do this like every day during the G1 Climax tournament, with an average match time of 25 minutes. Naito out here doing work in this G1 Climax tournament. In his legit suit too. That ring gear is sweet. Don't forget to check out, as we watch Tetsuya Naito go to the ring, don't forget to check out BruiserNationProductions.com/merch. You can get some of these sweet Bruze Cruze podcast hoodies, t-shirts, jackets, pillowcases, like, man, all kinds of stuff. Just go to BruiserNationProductions.com/merch. We even have dog bandanas. I got one for Buster the Bruiser dog. But both of our merch partners are featured there at BruiserNationProductions.com/merch. We even have To the Turnbuckle and Red Flag on there as well. So go to BruiserNationProductions.com/merch and check out the stuff. Help the Bruiser Nation grow a little bit and show your love for the Bruiser Nation at that. Tetsuya Naito removing his ring gear. Juice Robinson has removed his entrance gear as well, impatiently swaying side to side, awaiting Naito as Juice Robinson relaxes on the top rope in the corner. As Naito, who never rushes to remove his entrance gear, always focused, ready to go. The look in his eyes tell the story of how important this tournament is to him. really, like, this is a little excessive. just, geez, Naito, it's been like a minute and a half. But let's see if this, because he's been this way this whole tournament. Juice Robinson trying to get limbered up after waiting for so long. Clapping for the crowd, and the bell has rung, and here we go. Naito's still in no hurry, staring at the crowd at this point in time. Hasn't even locked eyes again with Juice Robinson, surveying the arena. What is Naito doing? I know what Juice Robinson's doing. He's getting the crowd behind him, but what in the hell is Naito doing? As Juice Robinson panders to the crowd again. Fully behind him in this matchup at this point. That the bell rang, but they still haven't started. Goes for bow and elbow tie up. Naito just ducks right underneath. This is going to be on his terms here. His terms. He's not going to do what Juice Robinson wants. He's going to do what Naito wants. And why is he still jaw-jacking at the referee, too? What is going on? Huge smile on Naito's face. Bow and elbow tie-up, and Juice Robinson returns in kind, ducking under the bow and elbow tie-up. Two can play that game, apparently. All right, it's time to get serious. At least that's what sounds like what Juice Robinson said. Finger locks between Juice Robinson and Naito. Juice Robinson wraps around the arm ringer delivered. Really wrenching it in just to get something started here by Juice Robinson. Ducks under by Tetsuya Naito, reversing it into a hammerlock. Fireman's takeover by Juice Robinson. Arm breaker by Juice Robinson. Still trying to hold control as Naito gets the leg trip. An ankle lock. Not really an ankle lock. Leg lock by Naito to Juice Robinson, twisting on that ankle. Robinson uses his leg strength to power down Naito to the mat and sloshes him with his left leg. All tied up. Side headlock now by Juice Robinson. Headlock takeover. Kick up by Juice Robinson after the head scissors by Naito. What is Naito even doing right now? Laying on the ring, pounding his chest, reaching for the sky. Now he's telling the ref to do something too. Just get up, fellas. Is what the ref said, probably. Bow and elbow tie up. Finally, side headlock by Juice Robinson. Naito pulling the hair. Trying to get Robinson to release the side headlock to no avail. Pulling against the hair again. Bounces Robinson off the ropes. Shoulder block by Robinson. Bounces off the ropes again. Jumps over Naito. Bounces off the ropes. Goes for a clothesline. Does Naito. Countered by Juice Robinson into a side Russian leg sweep after the backbreaker. Senton delivered by Juice Robinson to Tetsuya Naito. Rolls out of the ring very smartly. That took all the win out of Naito. Dropping the throat across the barricade of Naito. The throat. How was he going to be able to breathe after this? And an Irish whip into the other side of the barricade, opening the cage door. So much momentum delivered by Juice Robinson to Naito on the outside. He'd be happy with a count-out victory right now. Take those 2 points and get the hell out. Naito trying to shake the cobwebs loose, holding his back in pain after such devastation from Juice Robinson. I mean, those are steel barricades. Could hear the clang when he hit. There are 12 of the allowed 20 seconds. Naito might want to hurry up and get in there as he rolls under the bottom rope. Juice Robinson meets him with 2, 3, 4 stomps. Continuing the pressure on Tetsuya Naito. Grasping Naito by the head, gets him to the top. Irish whip. Juice Robinson not able to connect. Naito pulls his momentum, hits him with a boot, goes for a German suplex on Juice Robinson, bounces off the ropes. Arm drag by Naito. Kick to this midsection, running Frankensteiner delivered by Naito to Juice Robinson, who quickly rolls out of the ring. Holding his head after the momentum of that snapping of the Frankensteiner. Naito meets him on the outside, grabs Juice Robinson by the hair once again, smashing his face into the apron and then throwing him back into the barricade. Face first to the apron and then back again into the barricade. And once again, the combo by Naito. That's 3 times. Irish whip to the other side of the barricade. Bouncing the door open once again. 2 can play that game is Naito's response to Juice Robinson's physical attacks on the outside. Naito's were a little bit more mean and vicious. Referee is counting Juice Robinson out of the ring at 10, trying to shake those vicious shots off from Naito to be able to get the fortitude to get back in the ring. Rolls under the bottom rope as Naito's just kind of chilling. Boot to the right in between the shoulder blades by Naito to Juice Robinson, and a boot to the forehead. Stomps him again in the face. Just forcing the knee in the back of the shoulder blades, choking Robinson across the middle rope. Irish whip, sleeper hold applied by Naito. Dragon sleeper to a reverse neck breaker, head breaker almost. Figure 4ing the shoulders, forcing the head forward. Slapping Robinson in the head as he has Juice Robinson in complete control. A butterfly with a figure 4 legs now rakes the eye of Juice Robinson. Can Juice Robinson get to the ropes to break this submission hold? A butterfly with the legs using his height, and Juice Robinson is able to reach the ropes, forcing the break. The official physically gets in there and rips the legs off of Juice Robinson. A stomp to the head by Naito to Juice Robinson, and a stomp to the chest. Neck crank now delivered by Naito. Working that head, setting him up for all of the finishing maneuvers. Right to the midsection, trying to get out of this. Another punch to the midsection by Juice Robinson, trying to get out of the neck crank, and a third to no avail. Naito has really cinched it in now. Back into the blue corner. Juice Robinson is still in the neck crank. Elbow to the back of the head, and another elbow by Naito to Juice Robinson in the corner. Unprotected, a 4th one. Really throwing his body behind the elbow strikes. Slapping the head of Juice Robinson as he is wobbly on his feet. He has no idea where he is. A boot to the midsection by Naito to Juice Robinson, twisting him around. Goes for a neckbreaker. Juice Robinson's able to counter the neckbreaker, but Naito turns it back around. And Juice Robinson once again twists it back around to get out of the neckbreaker, followed by 3 clubbing blows to the back. Robinson counters the neckbreaker attempt once again. Vertical suplex countered with a knee by Naito to Juice Robinson, clobbering Juice Robinson. Irish whip counter by Juice Robinson, and a spine buster delivered by Juice Robinson onto Naito. Is this the few moments that Juice Robinson needs to start getting his head in this game and recover from the damage delivered by Naito and start delivering some damage of his own? Both men down and out, shaking cobwebs. Naito I would assume, the better off of the two from the vicious assault he has applied to Juice Robinson, more specifically the upper shoulder and neck area. Juice Robinson up to his feet first, getting with the crowd, getting the crowd behind him. Jab by Juice Robinson, and another one, and a third jab by Juice Robinson. Naito is out on his feet, calling for the big one. Naito ducks it. DDT, a spiking DDT delivered by Juice Robinson to Naito. Cover, 1, 2. Naito kicks out at 2. Juice Robinson trying to rub those muscles in his neck to get the feeling back in his neck so it's not bothering him. If any of you have ever had neck problems, it is a bitch. Everything hurts when your neck hurts. Juice Robinson climbing to the top rope. What will he attempt here to Naito? Try to put him out, trying to bring new things to the table. Leaps off the rope, rolls through. Naito ducking under. Naito counters, Irish whip, reverse elbow to a charging Juice Robinson. Hip toss delivered by Naito, and a running drop kick to a seated Juice Robinson, right in the back of Juice Robinson. A lot has been taken out of Naito, but he seems to have Juice Robinson very well scouted. Ready for everything. Never surprised at what Juice Robinson has tried to do so far in this matchup. An answer for everything as he charges Juice Robinson, catches the double boot attempt, slinging his legs across the ropes, and a reverse neck breaker right to the knee, and a twisting neck breaker now in the center of the ring from Naito to Juice Robinson. Cover, 1, 2, a lackadaisical cover. Robinson kicks out at 2, but he is caught. Figure fouring the head and grabbing it with his hands like a vice. He has Juice Robinson tied up. The pressure completely applied, his head being sandwiched in between the knee and the arms. He cannot get out of it, can't bear. It's got all the weight of Tetsuya Naito on the head and shoulder area trying to get, and he finally gets to the ropes. If Naito gets him in that ridiculousness again, he's not going to be able to, he's going to have to tap out. That took everything out of Juice Robinson. Reverse pump handle attempt. Robinson able to drop his weight. Still fighting, clubbing blow by Naito. Juice Robinson using the ropes to hold himself up from the assault of Naito, who was laughing right now at the expense of Juice Robinson. Elbow to the back of the head of Juice Robinson, counters an Irish whip from Naito, catches a flying forearm attempt and hits him with the Bruze Cruze. He is not able to make the cover after he hits him with his version of the Bruze Cruze. But is that able to give Juice Robinson the time he needs to get those cobwebs out of his head from the vicious assault delivered by Naito at Juice Robinson's expense? What a counter from that flying forearm. Wasting no time, grabbing him by the waist, then quickly transitioning into the full Nelson slam. Juice Robinson in the red corner, Naito in the blue. Juice Robinson charges a rolling cannonball right to the face of Tetsuya Naito, who was seated in the corner. Juice Robinson feeling it, asking for help from the crowd. Stands Naito up in the blue corner, places him on the top rope. Will we see a vertical suplex? A vicious chop delivered by Juice Robinson to Tetsuya Naito. He's getting Tetsuya Naito all set up for that superplex. Naito's trying to fight it off. Still trying to fight it off to no avail. Juice Robinson superplex delivered to Naito. Still holds on, rolls through, delivers a jackhammer. What a combination of moves. Cover 1, 2. Naito kicks out at 2. The leg was hooked. A superplex rolled into a jackhammer. And still, the inaugural Naito is able to kick out at 2. Now Juice Robinson has no idea what to do. What does he have to do to keep Naito down for 3? So much has been done to Naito in this match as well. He's calling for it. Hoisting Naito up. Goes for the unprettier, but Naito counters out. Naito charges Juice Robinson, catches Naito, and a vicious elbow by Juice Robinson to Tetsuya Naito, dropping Tetsuya Naito like a clump of clothes on the mat. I mean, geez, the way Naito fell. Fireman's carry. Juice Robinson has Naito in complete control. Oh, went for the juice box, but Naito is able to counter with the poison Rana, dropping Juice Robinson right on the top of his head. The reverse Frankensteiner, if you're not sure what I was referring to by the poison Rana. These two have beat the living hell out of each other, trying to get something going that seems to be momentum, but every time one of them gets that feeling of momentum, the other counters and takes control of the match. Back and forth. Naito stirring first, taking the least, I wouldn't say the least damage of the matchup, but that poison Rana definitely put Juice Robinson back into wobbly leg territory as he continues the assault on the head of Juice Robinson with 3 ripcord elbows right to the side of the head, still not releasing arm control as Juice Robinson crumbles to the mat. Delivering another 2, 3 ripcord elbows to the side of the face of Juice Robinson. How much can Juice Robinson take? The referee is definitely going to have to check on him and make sure he is even responsive. More ripcord elbows in succession, another 3 of them. Juice Robinson still on his feet, takes a 4th. The 4th one drives him right into the corner. Naito returning in kind. Juice Robinson seated on the top rope. Top rope Frankensteiner from Naito to Juice Robinson. Tetsuya Naito delivering that top rope Frankensteiner to Juice Robinson. Now he's in control, looking for Destino. Almost hits it. Juice Robinson is able to counter out of it. Huge leg lariat delivered from Juice Robinson to Tetsuya Naito. But the damage has been done as Juice Robinson drops right down to the mat, not able to even attempt a cover. The referee is starting to check on both men. Almost began his 10 count there. The crowd really getting behind Juice Robinson here tonight. Juice Robinson back to his feet first. Feeling the crowd, holding his neck from the assault. That has been Naito's complete game plan the entire match. Counters out of a powerbomb attempt. Ducks under a clothesline does Naito. Springboard DDT. Juice Robinson is able to catch him in the air. The first one to counter that step up DDT. Using his strength, but Destino, Juice Robinson caught with Destino. 1, 2, Juice Robinson kicks out at 2. What a succession of moves that was. Juice Robinson countered out of Tetsuya Naito's step up swinging DDT. Momentum stopped mid-air. That counter from Juice Robinson led to a vertical suplex attempt that Naito quickly countered into Destino. Going for Destino. Juice Robinson counters it. Powerbomb by Juice Robinson. Dropping Naito hard. A full falling powerbomb delivered from Juice Robinson to Tetsuya Naito. And as we continue in this matchup, the story is still the same. The heart and drive to win this tournament and stay relevant in this tournament. These two men are showing how important this is, and each and every time one of them gets the upper hand, very suddenly the other one counters and takes control. Naito starting to stir. Juice Robinson is still flat on his back. Naito very well may get to his feet first. What does Juice Robinson have to do to defeat Naito? And the same goes Naito. How will he defeat Juice Robinson? Grasping Juice Robinson by the hair. Hard elbow delivered by Tetsuya Naito, putting his whole body behind it. Juice Robinson returns a clubbing blow with the forearm to the back, then eats a elbow to the face, delivers a headbutt for Naito's trouble. And these men are down on the mat fighting, trading slaps, making fun of each other's patented gestures. Back to their feet. Trading elbow shots right to the face. Jab, jab, jab by Juice Robinson. Goes for that hard right hand. Step up enziguri by Naito. Juice Robinson delivers a hard clothesline. Flipping Naito around. 1, 2. Naito kicks out at 2. What a vicious clothesline by Juice Robinson, who looks to have been busted open either by delivering that headbutt or from some of those hard shots that Naito delivered. And Naito looks out of it, down on his back, staring at the lights. Juice Robinson pulling Naito up, going for pulp friction or the unprettier. Naito counters, ripcord elbows by Naito to Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson ducks under the fit. Oh, what a left hand by Juice Robinson. dropping Naito like a sack of potatoes to the middle of the ring. Pulp friction. Naito counters once again, goes for Destino. Robinson counters, goes for the clothesline. Destino countered the clothesline into Destino. Cover 1, 2, 3. He kicked out of Destino. Full-fledged Destino and Juice Robinson kicked out again. Naito's calling for it again. Here we go. Destino hits it right in the center of the ring, flipping Juice Robinson over and onto his front. Cover 1, 2, 3. And that is it. Tetsuya Naito continues his climb into this tournament with a victory over Juice Robinson. And this week, Bruiser Nation, we are continuing, or no, I'm sorry, not continuing. We're starting a new segment. So I got some stuff called pod decks to give me podcast ideas. Call it cheating, call it what you will, but the hell with it. So we're going to be doing What the F card today. This one will be fun. Do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on? So it would probably more than likely be quirk. So this is a good story because I didn't know I did this until I was about 21, 22 years old. We're at a party, me and my dudes hanging out. I start talking to this girl, and we're having a great conversation. She's feeling it, bro. You know, we're feeling each other. And then all of a sudden, her attitude completely changes. Like, complete 180. Gives me this weird look, starts getting this big attitude. I'm like, what? What happened? And she's like, you just rolled your eyes at me. She's so offended. Like, so offended. And my buddy Jerome happens to be hearing this conversation. Now, mind you, I'd known Jerome nearly my entire life. And when Jerome hears this conversation, he comes over and he's like, look, don't worry about that. He just does that. I look at Jerome like, I mean, you know, first and foremost, good looking out for trying to diffuse the situation. But I look over at Jerome, I'm like, what do you mean I just do that? What are you talking about? He's like, dude, you do it all the time. You roll your eyes all the time. I'm like, what do you no, what? It's like, yeah, dude, you've been doing it for years. Like, why did you not ever say a word? Like, so that is my weird quirk. I will involuntarily roll my eyes. So if you ever see me out and about or meet me in person and I do that, yeah, that's not, I'm sorry. It just happens, apparently. Well, Bruiser Nation, now you've learned a little bit more about me. But that brings us to the end of our excursion. Join us next week as we continue our G1 Climax 30 coverage featuring Hiroshi Tanahashi and the King of Darkness, Evil. Visit BruiserNationProductions.com/merch and show your love for the Bruiser Nation. Follow, like, subscribe to all of our social and YouTube pages. And remember, Bruiser Nation, stay good, because I'm always good.